Council, any conflicts of interest on any agenda items? Conflicts of interest? Okay, seeing none. Move on to the consent agenda, starting with the bills.
I have a question about the Coors thing, the ditch fees. Are we buying water from Coors, or?
No, these are annual fees that we pay. It's essentially an easement to convey water and to continue with our water rights requirements.
Okay.
And so there are a couple different entities that we purchased that right from. But we have Jack and Jason here if you need any more detail.
So say that again. So it says Coors Brewing, but it's not two Coors.
It's two Coors. They're the ones that own the rights. Is it Wanamaker Ditch?
Wanamaker Ditch, yes, sir.
And then there's another one, Highline.
Highline Canal, yeah.
And so that's they're just the owners, and so they're the payee.
So it's our water. They own the ditch.
Correct.
They own the water.
I don't believe so.
Is that Wanamaker water?
That is their exchangeable water rights that we have.
So we've been paying this since we've been a city?
I don't know how long we've been paying this one, but we have been. We can get that information for you.
No, I mean, can we buy the ditch instead of paying an annual?
I think it has a lot more to do with.
We don't have enough money. All right, never mind.
We'll pay for 10 feet.
Answer.
We'll pay for 10 feet of ditch.
Check number 135428, $14,000, Department of Purchases, Card Services. Just real vague. What is that?
So Mayor, if you turn the page on the reverse of that check
Okay.
listing,
Got it.
you'll see all the individual charges.
Thank you. Any other questions? Bills? No questions? Anyone have any questions about minutes from last council meeting? Seeing none.
I move to approve the consent agenda, which consists of regular bill lists through March 20th. Is that what it says, sir?
Yes.
I forgot my reading glasses. And the city council minutes, March 19th and 27th, 2019.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda passes. Next, we have our public forum for agenda items. No one signed up. Is there anyone in here that wants to talk? Will they be talking now, the Ferrari group, or during that?
I think during that agenda item.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak about anything going once, going twice? The public forum is closed at 6:04 p.m. And now we can move on to action items for new business. Historic Preservation Commission appointment. I don't see it. Yeah, okay.
There was a letter though from
it.
in the packet. This is the alternate position for each precinct.
Is alternate. I read the letter. So, may I speak on Ed's behalf?
Mr. Mayor, I believe you can speak on
Anyone's
any
behalf.
Commission granted.
So anyone on council and or in the audience who hasn't met Ed and Patrice, they're relatively new to town, but they are as active as any couple I know. Ed was with me last night at the mayor's forum. He's very energetic. He's taking a lead role with peak-to-peak players. I know he cares about the history and the future just as much of the city, and I strongly recommend his appointment. Any other discussion regarding Ed's appointment, guys?
Question about being an alternate, so I think that's good. We'll be totally full on HPC now.
Yes, all the commissions.
I know, it's great.
Okay, we need a motion there, or just? Yes. We get a motion, guys?
I make a motion to appoint Ed Schoenwald as an alternate to HTC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, Ed. Unanimous appointment. Okay, moving right along, we are at resolution number 1907, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Central, Colorado regarding the Maroney Ranch Gold Mountain Development Agreement dated May 17, 2011.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 1907 is in your packet tonight based upon a request from the property owners to have the City Council adopt a position that the October 24th, 2011 development agreement is null and void. Partly that request was due to the fact that the agreement identified a developer of that property that was intended to acquire the property in close in time to the time that the development agreement was approved, and that has not occurred. The owners and the developer have failed to reach mutual agreement as to the owner's sale of the property to the developer. However, I did learn today that the property owners and the property owners, namely, and a party that they are currently in negotiations with to acquire the Maroney Ranch property are requesting that this item be tabled until the next City Council meeting. And I think at this time it would probably be beneficial to hear from the property owner representatives and a representative from the entity that they're currently in negotiations with, just so that you all, obviously none of you were on City Council in 2011 when this agreement was originally entered into, but to hear from the ownership group about the current status of the negotiations and why they're requesting that you table this this item this evening.
Sounds like a good idea.
Well, if I may, I assume stand at the podium here. My name is Mark Van Ark. I'm a commercial broker out of the Denver area representing the Maroney ownership. And depending on your longevity in the Central City area, you may recall a series of false starts on the development of that large parcel. Over the last year and a half, 2 years, we've been negotiating with various individuals, and we have finally come and identified a development group based out of Canada, but has an office in the Denver area. They're quite excited about taking this on and moving it forward. Very similar to the same development terms that were under that 2011 agreement. However, since then, of course, the comp plan has changed. Certain code items have changed. It needs to be adjusted. For us to dissolve or ask that agreement be dissolved today, I think is premature until we finally reach an agreement with this new development group. We're hoping to do that before the 16th, meeting on the 16th. We need Ray Reers to really take part in that. He's been out of town, I believe, returning tomorrow. So I think we're well on our way. A well-versed, very qualified development group. They've proven their financial wherewithal, which has been a problem with the previous developer. And that's basically where we are and the reason for asking that this be taken.
So the question I pops into my head real quick is if dissolvement of your agreement of 2011 is necessary for anyone to get involved moving forward, and the persons in the agreement are never going to be involved, why don't we just dissolve it anyway?
The original group in the 2011 still is out there, and of late is claiming to have some financial wherewithal to be able to proceed. If that's true, we would not want this to be dissolved, but then address it with that original group. And until the dust settles on which route we want to go and which is best for the city, if we were to dissolve this second group would more than likely go away. And we want to keep them at least in a position that they could move forward, albeit having to change the terms of the 2011, certainly. But to dissolve it completely, then they have to start over from scratch, and that just would be a waste of time.
And it will give us another week to review it.
Exactly.
Familiarize ourselves.
Right.
Or 2 weeks.
And we do have the actual owners here if you wish to talk or listen to them. I'm not sure if we have the development group represented here. He assumed it was starting at 7, so I think he's more than
Do
likely.
you guys have any questions? Is there anyone else in your crew that wants to speak?
That's, anybody feel a call to get that? No, doesn't look like it.
Okay.
But thank you.
Yeah, I'm good.
As noted, nobody on this council was familiar with the negotiations of that development agreement. There seems to be grounds for abandoning the agreement, and maybe the city wants to do that irrespective of the request of the owner.
Is there
But in any case, we have a couple of weeks to think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll wait till Ray gets back and see what he says about it. And, so I think tabling it is the proper procedure.
We need a motion to the table.
I move to table resolution number 1907, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Central Colorado regarding the Maroney Rancho Mountain Development Agreement dated May 17, 2011.
Second, that motion.
All in favor? Aye. Resolution has been tabled. Staff updates?
Mr. Mayor, council members, you have some reports in your binder, but in addition to that, just following back up on the discussion we had at the last meeting regarding the welcome picnic for the opera this summer. There was an idea proposed, and the stakeholders, many stakeholders, liked the idea of taking that event and moving it over to the Teller House lot. However, there have been some issues, some difficulties in planning that with respect to members of the operations having some concerns about us locating it there. And so what we're asking for tonight is just some direction on the record that we move it up to the William C. Russell Park. That was, as I understood it anyway, the fallback provision if the Teller House lot was not acceptable. So we've had it at the park before, we've had it on Main Street. Maybe in the future we'll be able to have it on the Teller House lot, but right now it looks like it's either the park or Main Street. So,
Are the production issues an email from an individual?
yes, that was. There were some of the issues I think were discussed with a couple members of the Opera Association. Some of that was an email, some of that was in person and over the phone.
What was their issue with the Teller House parking lot?
As I recall it, I think there was, one issue was with power. Another was the roll-off dumpster container that is usually there and closer to Moriarty. And then some concern about how it might impact the county with respect to their parking, as well as some of the residents, opera residents at that time.
And also they have, probably have rehearsals going on, and there's probably the stage crew will be using that parking lot. They take up a few spaces there. So I'd rather just put it back up at William C. Russell. Personally.
think I was the lone voice that wanted the integration with Main Street, so it looks like we're going up to the park.
Well, in the park, someone voiced, I can't remember last time, about people in the opera having to walk up there to Wilson. So are we gonna help with some transportation, or are they gonna walk?
They've managed to make it up the last 25 years.
I
I mean,
wasn't here
we've
when
already
I was
given
here.
rides and stuff, and then,
Okay.
you know, I mean, a lot of them do walking, it's not like,
I mean, depending on the weather and everything else,
yeah,
but,
it's,
yeah.
it's not like we're walking to
We've all walked.
Central Idaho Springs or anything.
But we're also not opera singers.
Well,
No, well, I'm just thinking we're not opera singers and people may not be acclimated to elevation.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm just putting it out there, do we have a transportation option if someone asks for that?
I can ask the Grand C to help us out that day,
Yeah.
with their shuttle bus.
Well, I'm not sure with the PUC if they've been able to do that. We've asked for that for other community cleanup options, and so one of the things though is, as I understand it, and from my experience, the opera actually in Central City, one of the draws is that it's at high elevation, and so it's a great training opportunity. You see a lot of the members of cast as well as the crew that like to walk around town, enjoy doing so, and also I think you might have a couple beverages usually during the event, and so walking has tended to be the better mode of transportation for them.
They have vans, they have a couple vans that can use the transport. We could maybe set up some kind of a carpool thing with some of the locals who are going to attend and offer, you know, so I could take a couple people up, you know, in my truck or something. You know. And we could get them up there.
Okay, that's just want to make sure that everybody's still able to attend that one day. But, I mean, we can move it up to the park, Jack?
It's my choice.
Okay. You don't need a motion on that.
Prefer one.
Well, let's
Make a
get a
motion,
motion.
make a motion to move
Motion on the picnic, please.
opera picnic to William C. Russell Park.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And one of the other updates is just a reminder, and Reba passed out a copy of the Imagine Central City Strategic Plan from 2016, and so we'll be revisiting that through some strategic planning discussions, facilitated discussions next Tuesday, and so just a reminder about that. Other than that, is there any questions you have?
See you there.
See you there.
No questions? Okay. Council comments. Let's start we started there last time. Jack, comments?
I got a couple, since Ray isn't here, maybe we aren't prepared to answer, but there was a report, I think at least a month ago, that we had a contractor that was going to close up the windows in Belvedere. Still aren't closed up, we still have boarded up windows. I'd like to see that move forward
They were on
in
site
concert with
today.
that.
They were there.
It'd be nice to get rid of the pigeons. Maybe we need more wildcats and a ramp up to the pigeon roost areas, and because in lieu of not getting rid of the pigeons, we need to get rid of the pigeon poop. That's hardly attractive entrance to the city.
I think, as far as the windows, yes, that contract is in place. Reba was just mentioning now that the crew was on site today. The plan is to take out the windows and put the boards up and take those windows or that casement down to the shop that they have, and then make the repairs, bring them back up. And so that's part of the design of their proposal.
I heard that pigeons hate fresh paint.
But as far as the pigeons, we could look at
The fresh paint.
They can't just replace the glass, because we're looking at a much larger renovation that will involve a lot of the millwork, and that would be a more appropriate time to be taking windows out. It's hardly necessary to take a whole casement out in order to put in a piece of glass?
I think we can discuss that with the contractor, who's the only contractor that would give us a reasonable bid on replacement. And so we've gone along with their proposed measures, but we can take another look at that.
If Jeff will get the glass, I'll get my putty knife, and we'll fix that.
I'll get that.
There goes that idea. Another concern is some time ago, it was noted that when the sidewalk in front of the Opera House, Teller House was redone, the contractor didn't match the grade. So there are places where we have masonry that is hanging unsupported from the face that it's placed on, mainly the pedestals for the lamps. And my understanding was that we were going to correct that situation.
I think actually, Sam, I think, has had some more, or might have some more information on that, because I think it may also be somewhat related to the discussions that we've had with them about the door and the way that that's opened. And so, Sam, if you can recall some of that and provide that information, would be helpful. If not, we can get you more.
Are you speaking about the north side of Eureka or the south side of Eureka or both?
The sidewalk in front of the Opera House and the Teller House.
Okay, I wasn't aware that there were any gaps between the sidewalk and the structure. So,
go ahead.
If there are, I'll certainly go up there and look at that, and we can certainly fill those in.
When the concrete was put in, for some reason, they missed the existing grade by at least 2 inches. And that 2 inches up and 2 inches down, hence the problem with getting into the assay office door.
Right.
I have no idea what the contractor did, but all along that street, you can see where the older concrete sidewalk grade was, and that's significantly above where the new one is, and that means that probably the best place to take a look is at the doorway, main doorway. There's 2 pedestals with lamps on that. If you take a look at the base of that, you'll find a gap, which means that those rock face materials are suspended and not grounded.
Right. And we've had issues with that in the past, long before the contractor ever went out there. So, but I will take a look at that and we'll get that corrected, I'm sure.
I think that'd be an improvement, and maybe we hold on to those pedestals and those lamps, which I hope we're going to get that other lamp back. A number of lamps already.
I believe the lamp actually belongs to the Teller House.
Yes. Yeah. Or the Opera Association.
Right.
Fred just finished fixing it. They're just waiting for
That pedestal needs to be repaired at the same time.
Correct.
That's all I have for this time.
Nothing.
I just want to, I've noticed some quick improvements and quick reaction from the Public Works Department. The mirror helps a lot, and I saw that the yellow posts were up to protect our gas lines, and I wanted to thank you guys for the quick action. Thank you very much.
No comment.
I wanted to note that we had an old businessman named Don Olhausen had passed away some time ago, and he'd been a vibrant part of his community. We had a candy store on Main Street for a few years, and so I just wanted to note that we lost another one of our good old-time people from this town.
Yeah, and in that light, we also lost another resident, not as old time, but Tim Casey passed as well. So.
That's all Linda Jones.
Who?
Linda Jones.
Linda Jones passed?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Same day as all the other people.
Yeah, so our thoughts are with the prayers of the family. That's what we're hoping.
Linda will be missed.
Any more comments, guys? Okay, now's our time for a public forum not on the agenda. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak to council, now is your time. No one even signed up, right? Anyone? Going once? Saw is this the new developer in the house?
That's me right there. I saw the website said 7 and didn't notice it said 6 on the agenda, so I apologize.
You're good. Do you have anything, you want to talk to
Well, I
us
just
about
wanted
weeks?
Yeah,
Come
so
up
again, sure.
Yeah, please.
My name's Philip Devon. So obviously we're part of the group that wants to acquire the land and do some development in the city. So we talked to the city attorney. We wanted to put the resolution to void the old agreement so we can work with the city, and we've talked to Ray to create a new development plan so we can do some good things for the city. So sorry I've been late again, but I wanted to find out, our goal was to get to vote on that so we could void that and then come back on the 16th and have another resolution that we work with the city to basically say that the city will engage into a development agreement with us so we can work out the details.
Well, your group just tabled it until the 16th, so it's going to be the 16th and then the subsequent.
Okay.
We'll vote on the 16th.
Well, I'll talk to them, yeah, we were hoping to get the vote today so we could, make the decision on the 16th. So, because I understand Ray's gone on vacation for a couple of days, so our plan was to come back and talk to Ray and kind of look at the old agreement, see what needs to be put into the new agreement, what needs to be taken out, and say, okay, we have a new agreement, ready to go, and if we have to wait till the 16th, that's fine. We'll just do like a double resolution, out with the old, in with the new, and be done.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay.
But,
I mean,
It's a
obviously,
big project you guys are talking
yeah, but
about.
obviously the concern for us is that, we're under contract to try to buy the land. And we don't want to buy the land and then find out 2 months from now that I now own a giant duck farm because I can't develop on the land.
right, and we're guessing that your legal will make sure that the stipulation in that contract is that
And that's what, exactly, and that's what our agreement is that once we know that the other agreement is no longer has any validity, we can go ahead and buy the land and start to work with the city on our plans. And by the way, our plans are nothing close to any of the other plans that you may have seen. It's more neighborhood, residential friendly. It's not a destination resort and all that kind of stuff. It's more about the city and getting housing up here. It's really what we want to do. So that's what we talked to Ray about. Okay?
Good, thank you.
All right, any other questions for me?
You guys are from Canada? Is it your Canadian group?
My partner's from Canada. I'm actually from Denver. So, live down in Parker.
Well, nice to meet you.
All right, thanks.
Anyone else want to speak to council? Going once, closed at 6:29.
I move to go into executive session under section 24-4024B Colorado revised statutes to ask specific legal questions related to the March 19, 2019 correspondence from council for the Central City Business Improvement District, and I further move to reconvene the April 2nd City Council meeting at the conclusion of the executive session for the sole purpose of adjourning the April 2nd regular meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.